Hello, I'm Derek Lindquist. I'm doing my presentation on the cultural observations that I made, the 8 hours that we were asked to go and observe different cultures, different situations. I put a lot of my focus on 2 different subject areas, the first being food, the culturally diverse food that we can have and we can experience here in the valley, as well as a very interesting thing that I found, which was talking about happiness within cultures. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But to start off, talking a little bit about the food, the different cultures that I observed. The first place that I went to was a restaurant called Lima Limon in Cuna. Lima Limon is a Peruvian restaurant that's actually run by 2 Peruvian sisters. One sister runs the restaurant in the front, while the other sister does the cooking in the back. This is a very new restaurant. So when I had the opportunity to go, my family and I, my wife and 3 daughters, we spent about close to 2 hours at this restaurant because we were the only ones actually in the restaurant that day, at least at that time. And so we had a lot of opportunity to speak with the owners, the staff that was working there, just to talk a little bit about their background, where they came from, what makes Peruvian food unique. Because a lot of people will associate, well, anything south of the border with Texas is basically everything's like Mexican food. And there are some similarities between Peruvian food and Mexican food. They like a lot of grilled meats, but they put a lot of emphasis in potatoes and quinoa, rice, and they do a lot of different kind of stir fries. One of the delicacies in Peru that they can't serve here in the United States is guinea pig. And I asked them, well, what does guinea pig taste like since you can't serve it to me? And they said, well, guinea pig kind of tastes like chicken, but it's a little bit grainier. And I said, why do Peruvians enjoy the delicacy of guinea pig if it just tastes like chicken? And they said, well, guinea pigs are easier to raise in the high mountains than chickens are. And so that's their reasoning for that delicacy, which I thought was very interesting. But that was a lot of fun for me and my family to go and speak with them, and just to kind of get an idea of what made them want to open up a Peruvian restaurant when that's really not very common, especially not in the Boise Valley in this area. The second place that I was able to go to is a restaurant called Tango's. Tango's is in Boise, and Tango's is an Argentinian restaurant. They emphasize in sub sandwiches, but more particularly empanadas. Empanadas are basically a tortilla with anything you want set in the middle and then deep fried. I had the opportunity to try quite a few. I tried this one that you see here is called a gaucho. Gaucho has ground beef, peppers, cheese, and corn, and it's what I spoke to the owner, and it's what they consider a representation of what Argentina is, what it produces. The restaurant is owned by a husband and wife. The husband is from Mexico City and the wife is from Argentina. I had the opportunity to speak with the husband just about why they took the opportunity to do empanadas, and he said, well, nobody else is doing this, and we're really good at it, and we really enjoy it, so we wanted to share it with others, share part of what this culture from Argentina really is. While most here in the valley, he said, well, while most here in the valley know what Mexican food is or have an idea of what Mexican food is, they really don't know anything else beyond Mexican food, and so wanted to share that with them. And I highly recommend this place because when I say you can put anything in an empanada, they really do, and it is really, really good. But it was a good opportunity to speak with him because he was very open, very friendly person about why they opened the restaurant and how they wanted to share that culture and that food with the people here in the valley. I really stepped outside of my own comfort zone as far as this next place is concerned, because it was Sakura Japanese restaurant. I am not an Asian food fan. The Asian culture, while very fascinating, has never presented much interest to me, due to the fact that I've learned Spanish, and Spanish-speaking countries are really what drive me as far as interests are concerned. Sakura Japanese restaurant is run by a family from Japan. They opened up this restaurant in order to share what they consider to be truly Japanese cooking. It's a sushi bar, and they have other Japanese delicacies. I had the opportunity to try the chicken tempura as well as sushi. And I'm sorry to say, for those of you who are sushi lovers, I still do not like sushi, and I don't think I ever will. I've tried it a few times, just can't get it to stick. But I enjoyed speaking with the people who were working there at the restaurant, because I asked them, so what made you have a desire to do this? And they said, well, it brings us closer to home, being able to do these things, and it also gives us an opportunity to share with others how we truly feel it works, and how we truly feel Japanese culture can help others. They very, very friendly people, and it was really interesting to try and speak with them because they don't speak English very well. Many of them have not been in the United States very long, and their English is still very broken. But it was still very, very enjoyable for me to speak with them. The last restaurant I went to was a place called Shaka Shack, and it is a Hawaiian restaurant run by two brothers. Shaka Shack has a lot of things like teriyaki chicken, coconut rice, Filipino, and they use Filipino steak, and they use a lot of island recipes incorporated, and they use a lot of rice in most of their meals. And I spoke with one of the brothers, and he described to me the food as, well, Hawaiians and Islanders are very laid back, very relaxed people. We like to take things slow. We like to enjoy ourselves just very slowly and just take things a little bit at a time. And he said that's the way we kind of cook our food as well, is we take it slow, we slow cook it, and makes it very enjoyable for those who eat it. The last part that I talked about at the beginning was the different things that cultures will do to be happy. I took the opportunity to watch this documentary called Happy, and it's basically a lot of psychologists, scientists want to study depression, why people are depressed, why aren't they happy, and they considered a way to measure depression. These scientists wanted to take it in the completely opposite direction. They wanted to be able to measure happiness, which I thought was very interesting, because myself, I try very hard to be a very positive, very happy person. Don't always succeed, but I do try. And it was really interesting because they went to different people, different cultures, to see what they did to be happy, what they had to be happy. And a few pictures here of just different situations with this. This one right here is of a tribesman in Africa who they have no technology. Their entire emphasis is on family and on taking care of each other. If one person is sick, then everyone strives to figure out how to make this person feel better. Figure out how it is that they got sick. Their entire emphasis is on family, and that's what makes them happy, is by focusing on their family and what's there, not having to worry about so many other things outside of them. This one up here is in Europe. They form, I almost want to call them community hotels, where about 10 to 12 families will come into a single large building or large community, and they will all kind of take care of each other. This picture here is of a few of the children that lived in these families, and it was really interesting because this entire community focused on taking care of each other. And the one person that they emphasized in this was a single mother with 2 kids who really struggled to get by to be able to earn money and take care of her family at the same time. When she moved into this little community, things became a lot easier for her because others were helping her take care of her kids. She was able to work, and at the same time she didn't have to worry. Each family would take turns in making a meal for everyone else. So instead of having to make 3 meals every single day, they would be making a meal every week or so that everyone was taking a turn in making a meal. And personally, having kids, having a family, and making a meal each day for my family, if I only had to do that once a week, I would be ecstatic. But because they helped each other and their focus was on helping everyone in the group and not just one person, the environment, the culture that existed there was one that was really happy. These last 2 pictures are of a family from Calcutta, India. They lived in the slums. The father pulled a rickshaw. That's what he did for a living. And again, like these other 2 cultures, they showed how happy they were, how happy he was, just because of his family. He had kids, he had a wife. They lived in what we would consider an extremely rundown house. One side of the house just really wasn't there. The other 3 sides of the house were pretty much covered with tarp. And he said it has an okay roof, and the rain gets in sometimes during the rainy season, but it's still a good house. He talked about how it would get so hot that his feet would burn. He would get burns on the bottom of his feet while pulling a rickshaw, but he didn't mind because he had his family. His son is here in the front. He had his family, and that's what made him happy, was just doing this. And it was interesting, the studies that they showed that those who were more focused on family, on taking care of others, were happier than those who were more focused on having things, having the latest phone, having the nicest house, the latest car, things like that. Happiness came from focusing on others. And I found that very interesting and very insightful, and hopefully I'll be able to do the same thing, put more emphasis on helping others as opposed to just thinking about what do I want for me. That's my presentation. That's what I wanted to share with you all about the cultural observation that I had over the last 9 weeks that we've had the class. Thank you.